It seems like everybody's got a completely different opinion on Starfield, whether it was something that was groundbreaking and they were massively in love with, or it was something that was completely below their expectations. They refunded it and are incredibly bummed for some reason. Now, because of how much coverage the game has gotten, I've done my best to avoid any spoilers so that way I could go into it with a fresh, unbiased experience to get my own interpretation. With that said, I'm also going to make sure that this impressions video is completely spoiler-free for those of you who also were in the same situation that I was. Now, talking a little bit about the game, let's talk about the cons that I experienced. Why is this our map? Like, I genuinely do not understand. I would rather have not had a map at all than to be looking at this as if it does anything. If this were for random planets, I wouldn't have any complaint considering there's approximately 1,000 of them. But for the main cities, especially New Atlantis, the first one they show you, I'm astonished that this is what our map looks like. I was able to navigate by following the signs around the location, so it wasn't terrible in finding what I was looking for. However, this map seems pointless at best, and just thrown together at worst. Another con is, I wish you were able to interact with more things in a planet rather than just the ore, the animals, and the flowers. Similar to No Man's Sky or Minecraft, where you can interact with the landscape and destroy it as you want, as well as build quite a bit on top of that destruction. This one's really small, but you also can't land on or take off from planets manually, which, while it isn't the end of the world, it would be nice to be able to do so. I think this is partially because they have the worlds blocked off in Skyrim-sized pieces of land as you spawn on them. And I'm guessing the engine has issues with it, however, this still would have been nice to have in the game. Another thing is, things are not explained to you very well. A great example is outpost building. I actually had to Google something about how to do outpost building because the explanation for what it wanted me to do was not remotely clear until after Googling it, at which point I was able to figure it out. The game is riddled with these kinds of things, which is a little frustrating because there's so many cool systems that I wish were easier to understand so I can enjoy them more. Another thing to talk about is the textures, faces, and lighting is super hit or miss within the game. I'm definitely going to be adding mods that help with this, especially as the game's out for longer, because it's very inconsistent. I wish that they had a consistent level of quality, and it seems some of the polish just wasn't there for some reason. I actually had an instance where a guy's head was turned all the way around, like it was really creepy as he was trying to talk to me. Another thing is the guns themselves are not all that interesting to me. They all kind of blend together instead of feeling unique or special like you would expect from Skyrim or Destiny or something, where the great weapons really stand out. Also, when you are being shot by enemies, it has little effect, as I didn't notice much, if any, recoil or staggering when I got hit, and often I didn't actually realize how low my health was getting because enemy bullets or attacks don't really seem to feel impactful whatsoever. Now, this was about it in terms of my major complaints. I've really been enjoying this game. So let's move on over to the pros. I've had zero major bugs or issues throughout the entirety of this game. Now, in terms of the performance, I've had a great experience. This could be because I'm an AMD user, but regardless, my experience has been pristine even when recording when you would expect frame drops. Another thing is, I love the exploration in this game. All of the different planets, creatures, environments, and more that can be discovered. I was attacked by these fire-breathing lizard creatures that were very defensive, and it was super cool. They weren't very tanky, however they did quite a bit of damage compared to other enemies on that planet. I really like how there's an ecosystem within these planets for these creatures, where some are more predators, some are passive, some are territorial, and as you get up in their space and their land, they'll come and all attack you at once. Another thing is I love the outpost building, and Bethesda did a great job at making them feel important with a variety of things to do, from gathering minerals, growing plants, or even capturing animals. It's just so well done, and the more I level up, the better it gets. Also, a lot of these systems are very deeply built with lots of customization and fine-tuning to go into them. A great example here would be shipbuilding. Now, it's very overwhelming to start, however, I love how all of the different pieces go into each other, and as you kind of get a better understanding of it, it's super fun to do. Now, this is something I will be adding mods to because some of the shipbuilding does seem a little bit off in terms of where different components need to go before they're considered attached. I don't like how sensitive it is. However, overall, I really enjoy how all of these systems go so well into the game, and it makes me feel encouraged to go out and gather more resources and go try new locations and see what else is out there, because usually I'm able to take whatever I find there and build more outposts or use that gear to sell and then to work on getting a new or improving my own ship. It's super fun, as well as all of these side quests that you can run into that just send you in all different locations. Jumping off of that, I really enjoy the NPCs in this game. The ones you can bring with you are very talkative in a way that's satisfying. Occasionally you'll be talking to someone and then your partner will just comment as well with some sly thing to say. Or a dialogue option will show up and you can choose to have them say something, which is also very unique and very well done. It feels very fluid. I think that's the best way that I can describe it, and I've had a blast with it. Also, random NPCs that you're walking by often are commenting on relative things going on in their region or planet. The skill progression system is very well done. It's one of the best I've seen in a game, in my opinion. The more competent my character becomes, the cooler or more valuable my abilities are. I felt in Skyrim that the more perks I used, the less I enjoyed the game because I simply became a god. In Starfield, it's more that you can do a wider range of things versus the same things to an overpowered level. I'm playing more of a researcher who is very interested in learning all of the different things they can and discovering all of the different animals and plants and such. And because of that, I'm having a very hard time putting perks in any other tree because I just want to keep learning more and more things and being able to put outposts on any type of planet regardless of the weather issues. Now, some of the pros about the gunplay is I actually do like your gunplay. Your bullets affect enemies and it feels very smooth. Despite the enemies not seeming to affect you as much, your bullets stagger them and seem to have impact upon every hit, and I like the sounds of my bullets making contact, as well as the ability to shoot between different rails and holes and doorways. It seems like a lot of games have forgotten this in recent times, and there's always these magical invisible barriers, but for Starfield, I haven't really seen that as the case. I've really fallen in love with this game, and I had a hard time pulling myself away to make this video. If you are unsure if this game is for you, I highly recommend trying it on Game Pass. I think it's like 10 to 15 bucks. That'll give you a good month to decide if you like it or not. And if you don't, then you saved yourself about $55. And if you do, you can just go ahead and purchase it in full. I really enjoyed the game. I hope you do too. If you found this video useful or entertaining, leave a like, consider subscribing. Stay safe.